Recording.
Hey everyone, I'm Superfizz. Today is May 10th, 2022, and I am here with my good friend Ben Edgington.
Hi, Fizz. Been a while. How are you doing?
It has been a while. I'm rested now. I'm really looking forward to reviewing the May 6th What's New in ETH 2. This is action packed.
Yeah, it's been a month since the last one, so there was plenty to write about. I normally do this every 2 weeks, but Dev Connect came along. I was planning to publish something during Dev Connect, but it was too exciting, too much going on. I was having too much fun, and then I decided to leave it. I got a bout of COVID afterwards and didn't feel up to much. So we're back on schedule. So yep, after a couple of weeks delay.
I have some exciting news to share. I
Go
uh,
on.
I used Fortnightly appropriately in context. Uh,
Well done.
I've been working on it for a year, but yes, I said fortnightly, and I thought you'd be proud of me.
Jolly well done, my good fellow.
All right. Um, so Ben and I chatted about this before. Like I have speed read this, but I'm not. I haven't had a chance to annotate it, but we are kind of looking forward to just learning together. I'm sure Ben, having been through COVID, is probably still recovering from that. So let's see. Let's Tim Bako. Okay, so all core devs 011. What? Wait. Oh, that's Tim
That's not
Byko's
binary.
update. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's like wait. Well, I was like, that's not all core devs call 11. It's Tim Bako's update newsletter.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and Tim's killing it on the communications. He's doing a great job of everything. So this is, if you want to know what the steps are between today and merge, and what we're all focusing on, then this is the place to go. It covers all the testing scenarios that we need to look at. The shadow forks, we'll talk about those in a bit, I'm sure. Other testing, and then what exactly will the merge look like is at the bottom. What to expect when we push the button on this thing. So yeah, great source for everything that lies ahead.
So yeah, I actually worked to disambiguate some of this for myself. Clients release software which supports the merge. That is Bellatrix enabled software, and then Bellatrix is the hard fork that prepares the beacon chain to accept the execution layer, and that's going to happen a few weeks after the Bellatrix merge. Is that
Right. So yeah, the beacon chain has this Bellatrix fork or upgrade. There's a corresponding one on the execution chain, on the ETH1 chain, and I can't remember what it's been called. Is it Paris?
it was? I thought it was a star name, or they
No, star names are on the
are.
consensus
Oh,
layer.
okay, okay, only on
Yeah.
CL. Um,
I think cities on the execution layer. So, but whatever it's called, there'll be a hard fork on the ETH1 side, hard fork on the ETH2 stroke consensus side, sometime ahead, 2-3 weeks ahead of when we anticipate the total difficulty to hit this terminal total difficulty. Both sides will be prepared. The network will do its thing. Miners will continue mining. Then a block will come along that matches this terminal total difficulty, and that will be co-opted by proof of stake. That will everything after that will be proof of stake. There'll be no more proof of work blocks that are recognized by the core Ethereum protocol.
I feel like the confusion is going to come from people looking, normally we celebrate hard forks, and I think people will be looking for the hard fork as the celebratory event. But in this case, the celebratory event will not be the hard fork. It will be a few weeks after the hard fork when we reach total terminal difficulty, when the chains actually merge.
Yep.
So just need to keep that in everyone's mind.
And the timing will be slippery. It depends on hash rates, and hash rates might be going up or they might be going down. They're always doing something, so it's going to be hard to predict within a few days, never mind a few hours, until we're pretty much on top of it. So could be any time, day or night, weekend.
This is one of those few times I think I'm going to run a POW miner, just to be more a part of it. And I'm not encouraging other people to, like, that'll speed up the hash rate and make things be wonky. But just for the fun of watching ETH hash go through and then kind of stop, I'm sort of interested in that. When merge?
Yeah, it's just a big question, isn't it? That's what everyone wants to know, and the answer is when it's ready. We're not doing it a moment sooner than it's ready, and that means all the testing, all the clients are ready, all the users, everyone out there who's got dApps or infrastructure, they're all ready. So there's no sense in which we want to rush this. However, it's about time. I mean, we need to do this.
Would you agree that you and I have both been guilty of being overly optimistic about the timeline?
No, never.
No. Of course, I did have that post. Why the merge is going to happen in June. So I think
you got time. You never know. I mean, I felt it was worth doing a bit of a digression on the various factors here. I'm not sure everybody around is sort of aware of the different competing elements that go into the decision making. So I wanted to do a sort of a review on it all, and have a little rant about this ice age or difficulty bomb thing. Yeah, this is interesting. So this is blocks per week, and you can see that it periodically it drops off. In history of Ethereum, it's dropped off dramatically at some times, and this is purely artificial. This is just something that the devs put into the core protocol to make mining progressively harder at various times. And I discussed the reasons for this in the article, but you can see that it's started to drop. So right on the right hand side there, the blocks per week have started to drop fractionally. So I don't know what that translates to in terms of average seconds per block. But if you sort of compare with previous episodes, you can see that within the next 2-3 months, we're going to be dropping off a cliff in terms of the rate of block production.
Well, this is about where we are now. That is March 30th, 2017 to September 30th. So this is a 2-month drop.
6 months.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 6 months. My apologies. Yeah. So yeah, 6 months. That's not that this is ideal, but I
mean, that's like more than a halving of the block rate, so a doubling of block time. So the block times would have been up to 25 or 30 seconds at that point, which is, looking at it the other way, a halving of the throughput, potentially doubling of gas prices or whatever.
Now, this is going to sound naive, but we're confident that this current dip is the consequence of the difficulty bomb, because there are some other artifacts that we know are not difficulty bombs. There are things like GPU related or price related. Mm-hmm. But we are confident that this is the difficulty bomb engaging, right?
Yeah, we are. And you can do the math. I mean, it's not mysterious. It's just one line of code, and you can sort of see how much the difficulty has increased. So I think every 10,000 blocks or something, it gets bumped up. Yeah, so you get this stepwise thing where the difficulty increases and then hash rate, goes up.
The optimistic thing for this, because I don't mean to be overly optimistic. It's just who I am. But if this ice age lasted for 6 months before the bomb was disarmed, if we look at 6 months from now, that's shipping the merge by November. And not that I expect it to get that far, but it kind of gives me that real impression that we can ship without disarming.
I think it was easier in 2017. The chain was very little used at that time. We had a lot of spare capacity, and so having longer block times wasn't a big deal. But now it's all about capacity on the chain and gas price at the moment. I think people will start getting quite agitated if we get to, say, 20-second block times. That would be quite severe in the current climate. We're expecting to hit that somewhere around mid-August. So basically that means either merge before mid-August or delay the difficulty bomb. And depending on who I spoke to last, my opinion keeps changing. I'm just flip-flopping on which we're most likely to do at this stage. yeah, today's view is that we might end up delaying the bomb and buying ourselves another couple of months, or just getting this kind of this sword of Damocles that's hanging over us, just doing away with it because
Oh well, because we know it's going to happen. That's the first. I've been sort of solidly in the camp of merging in the August timeline.
Yep. And last Friday when I wrote this thing, that was where my head was at. And so I don't know. Tomorrow might be. Yeah, we'll see. So the decision-making process looks like all core devs meetings this Friday, and all core devs meetings 2 weeks on Friday, Fortnight Friday. And that's the governance body of Ethereum. So a view will be taken on progress in testing and in progress towards the difficulty bomb. Probably all core devs in 2.5 weeks. So 28th of May, is it? Something around that. That will be 27th. That will be when the decision is made to likely. I mean, my best guess is that will be the kind of go no go. Do we delay the difficulty bomb, or do we just get the merge done beforehand?
I sort of like the perspective that there's no rush to delay the bomb. We can delay the bomb later if the need comes up.
We need about 4 weeks notice. I mean, realistically, to allow clients to update, get releases into the hands of users, and allow people to take the time to update in an orderly fashion. 4 weeks is about the minimum. We could rush something through quicker than that, but that would be unseemly. And
yeah, that's not characteristic of the plan anyway. So that's not who we are.
Yep. So I'm somewhat optimistic still about August, but yeah, just as I say, depends on who I spoke to last.
And we alluded to plans A and B. I'm not sure how you have them identified, but one plan being merge before the bomb, and the other plan being delay the bomb or remove the bomb and merge later. Right. I guess we'll just see.
Right. Yep. But the good news is that there are no technical blockers. We are, client teams are pretty confident. Everything's ready as far as we're concerned. It's just testing. So it's just taking time to make sure that nothing's rushed, that we can handle any last minute glitches, that the corner cases have been dealt with. There's nothing, we're not sitting here thinking, oh, we've got this big problem, we need to delay. It's just, there is a process, and that process takes time. That's it. That's all.
I liked this merge testnet leaderboard.
Yeah, it's had you to put this together. So this is really aimed at sort of infrastructure providers who are anybody running stuff on Ethereum, right? Whether it's a dApp or it's exchange or it's some information service, like Infura or whatever you're running on Ethereum, you will be impacted by this. If you're running an ETH1 node now, you will need to run an ETH2 node. If you're running a consensus node now, if you're staking, you'll need to run your own ETH1 node. It impacts everybody. So you need to make sure it works. If you want to make sure it works and not get taken by surprise by this, then get testing.
Yeah. So things like merge testnets, like Kiln and I'm trying to think of the Kintsugi before that. They've kind of, in many ways, been replaced by a new testing strategy. Do you want to tell us more about how shadow forks are? They seem to be all the rage right now, and they're relatively quick and easy to set up.
Yeah. So to clarify, that Kiln is a long-lived testnet, which is merged, and if you're testing your infrastructure stuff or your dApp or whatever, that's the place to test it. So go there. But the main challenging test for the merge, what we're trying to do to test whether the merge is going to work or not from a client protocol point of view, is this shadow fork thing. And these are quite brilliant. So effectively, we are doing the merge, the real thing, but only on a very small subset of the actual nodes. Hey, some friends.
Yeah, I like this guy.
Yeah, he's a hero. So this is at DevConnect on Saturday morning. At DevConnect, the various client teams gathered. You got Teku on the left, Prism behind there, right in the middle. You got Besu team on the right at the front. You've got Lighthouse team and others around the room. Geth team behind the Lighthouse team there. And yeah, so what we do is we put up a number of mainnet Ethereum nodes following the proof of work chain, fully synced up with a whole state of Ethereum, running all the transactions on Ethereum. And they're under our control. And we have a beacon chain running with a bunch of validators that are under our control. And we do the merge with those ETH1 nodes and those beacon nodes. And we actually do the real thing. So they stop being proof of work, they stop listening to a proof of work chain, and start being a proof of stake chain. And the really cool thing is that all the transactions on mainnet that carry on after that are still valid on this shadow fork and get relayed across, because we don't change the network ID. So the shadow forked networks continues processing all the Ethereum transactions as they come over.
That's new to me. I actually thought that collected transactions ended when the shadow fork began. So that's very interesting.
No, I mean, eventually they diverge, because they'll get included in blocks in slightly different orders, and blocks happen at different times, because they're coming regularly on the proof of stake and so on. So eventually the states diverge and more transactions become invalid. But for at least a while, a week or so, you're getting a very, very good test in absolutely real situation. So the last one of these we did on mainnet was last week, and it was during this huge event where gas prices went up to astronomical levels.
7,000 Gwei, which none of us have ever seen.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
Yeah. 7 micro ETH. Yes.
Right now, I wish this was an ETH1 conversation. That was just crazy.
But that was fork number 4, and it survived. It all ran fine through that. That was a brilliant test of the the merge infrastructure. It just worked. So yeah, a lot of confidence about these.
And I know Perry is managing those, and he's doing great work. Like testing and DevOps have just blossomed with Perry on board. So
Perry is a wizard. I mean, DevOps is all about automating everything, right? But it takes work to do that. But he's got everything automated to a point where he can just kind of press a button and it all goes. Just brilliant.
I'm loving Jonathan Mann's involvement, and he has actually been involved with Ethereum since, was it like DevCon 1,
right?
Something. So. And he's actually staking now. He's staking through Rocket Pool. He is really engaged with kind of getting the messages out. So I'm just really happy to have his, PR support for what we're doing. Songs are one way that people learn about what's happening. So I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
All right. So the Shadow Forks, Beacon Chain.
10% of all Ether is now staked.
This is my new obsession, Hildobby. Oh, wait, there's this deposits dashboard. So yes, I think, before we go through this, it is absolutely awesome that 10% of Ether is now staked on the Beacon Chain. Like, I think we're gonna get into some I don't know the right way to frame it, but we're going to get into some other discussions about what this 10% means. But I think before we go further, it's just incredible to point out that we've reached this milestone. So congrats
in my mind,
everyone.
Before we started the Beacon Chain, in my mind, 10% was the target. That was, that was the measure of success, really. And we're there, and we're just accelerating straight through it. We're just blowing straight past it. It's incredible.
And so I'm always a fan of dashboards. I collect dashboards. I encourage them and promote them. Hildobby's dashboard, it's because they kind of package information in bite-sized chunks that mortals can understand. And so Hildobby's dashboard is one of my favorites right now. What do you see here that's meaningful?
Just that there's no sign of it stopping, right? It's just going up and up and up. And we're onboarding validators 25% faster than we were 6 months ago, because of the way the protocol changes. When you have more validators, you can onboard them more quickly. So we can now do 1,000 and something per day. I can't remember, but anyway, it's and yeah, no sign of it slowing down whatsoever. I don't know where we're going to land in terms of percentage of total ETH staked. Justin Drake believes we will get to 50% of all ETH staked eventually. That will be the long-term steady state.
Right or wrong, I absolutely love Justin's predictions. Like, it's I know a lot of researchers who simply won't predict things because they're like, well, I could be wrong. But I love people who are just like, let's predict. So I think 50% is an exciting prediction.
Yeah, extraordinary. Yep. So there we go.
Everyone ought to give hilldobby.eth, hilldobby_ a follow. He has just that great dashboard. And so that's, I'd also like to point out, okay, so we need to point out Sigma Prime's block print developed by Michael Sproul, which is referenced on clientdiversity.org. I did encourage Hani Abu, who develops this, to switch Sigma Prime to the default there. And this is great. This is Prism below 50% was one of the targets that like we needed to reach. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if I love your staking operation or not. I just love that the network is coordinating to kind of balance this. Teku's doing pretty good.
Yeah, we're on the up. It's hilarious that Lighthouse is in danger of becoming the bogey client next.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
well, you know, the way to avoid that is just to have quick switching so that it's not moving an ocean liner to switch, that it's kind of a 2-click sort of thing.
Well, I'm heartily encouraged. I'm amazed that basically in 3 months, I mean, it was in January, I think, that Prism had like 68% and was scarily dominant. It had over that 2/3 threshold, and I was starting to lose sleep over the risk to the network of having one client with that much share. That its turnaround in 3 to 4 months is extraordinary. I would never have predicted it was possible. Huge credit to you in particular, Superfizz, for just keeping on banging that drum relentlessly,
annoying the hell out of people.
Yeah, no, Evan Van Ness was more annoying. I found you.
I love Evan, so he's working on it.
But between you've really moved the needle considerably, and credit to the staking operations who have taken steps, put in resources, put in decision making, done something that they didn't have to do, but benefits them, benefits the whole network in the end. It's brilliant.
To be honest, we don't give a ton of positive credit to Coinbase and Kraken, but because we tend to steer away from centralized operations, but I do really appreciate that they recognized the issue and corrected it. So thanks to them. And also, Lido has done a great job of balancing validators. I'm going to switch over to rated.network just for 2 seconds because this is where we're going to see this. So you can see the top providers are all, well, so they do have some Prism dominance, but they've reduced it significantly. We're doing better.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, my eye is drawn to the light blue, which is the Teku stuff. I mean, Bitcoin Swiss has been all Teku since day one, but Staked only recently adopted Teku and now have half their fleet on,
shout out to Staked,
Teku, which credit to them. So it's very encouraging.
Yeah, we're making progress. Before we leave this page, I want to talk about execution clients for 2 seconds. Execution client diversity has not been a priority. That's not true. It's a concern, but it has not become the ultimate priority yet. And I do sense that that's going to come about. Right now, we're sort of offering time for secondary clients to harden. So, and I guess many of you know Open Ethereum is now deprecated. And so we're really looking at Aragon, Nethermind, Besu. My intention really is to focus right now on what we're getting ready to talk about, this Lido kind of proportion of validators thing. So capping entities at around 22%, not capping forcefully, but capping through community guidance, entities at 22%. And once we get that managed, then I think our next focus will turn to execution clients. I think it'll be time for that, but we're getting there. Does that sound fair?
Yeah. Yep. I make a note there. Next front is execution client diversity in the war.
Oh, cool.
I've referenced your project Sunshine. Do you want
yes,
to speak
yes.
to that?
Yeah.
Go on.
And so the client diversity struggle was real. We did a great job. We demonstrated the power of the community. And the same developer who created client diversity took another tweet that I suggested, hey, let's zoom out and let's focus on all decentralization in every facet of decentralization on Ethereum. And he developed this project Sunshine. It is in GitHub. It is eligible for Git POAPs. So that's really a great opportunity. And I would say it's still early because when I look at this, my tendency is to cringe and say, 61%, that's not good enough. But the positive I bring from this is that the Ethereum network, the Ethereum community, we are willing to identify our weaknesses. We're not the people who are going to sweep them under the rug and act like they don't exist. We identify our weaknesses so that we can harden them. It's good. And so shout out to Hani Abu. I hope everyone looks at ETH Sunshine. They are participating in the qf.estaker.cc. We're going to talk about that later, a grants round. But yeah, thanks to that team. And while this isn't beautiful right now, it's not gorgeous. I mean, the UI is great, but I mean, the data is not what we'd want to see. Knowing it is so much better than ignoring it. So that's the positive.
Yeah, and it's a great reminder that diversity is more than just some client diversity. Whether there are dimensions, different dimensions to all of this. If everyone's on Amazon, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah. So thank you for the opportunity to bring that up.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I met the chap at DevConnect who masterminded the ethereum.org staking pages refresh. So I just wanted to give it a shout out there. They are gorgeous and loads of good info there. So really happy to point people there to help them get started.
Who was that person?
Sorry, I forget the name.
Okay, that's right. What, is it Paul?
Don't think so.
Or Sam. Okay, my bad. No big deal. So let's talk about Lido.
Yeah, time to do Lido. Okay. Lido has hit over 30%, I think by some measures 33% or more of total stake under their management. Yeah. Tell me your thoughts.
I'm not anti-Lido. I love pools that provide a service to the network. But I think that all pools need to be accountable to the network. And part of that accountability means not growing to be outsized, not having outsized influence on the network. And my kind of measure is 22%. We shouldn't have more than 3 chains that it takes to get to get 66% to effect finalization. Other people are more comfortable with 33%. At any rate, Lido has grown unabated. They do have what they call some transparency reports and stuff that are great, but growing without throttling is dangerous for all of us. We're under the impression that Lido doesn't have any sense of a need to slow down, and if they won't slow themselves down, then it becomes the responsibility of the community to say, wait, stop. This is not acceptable. We need you to be good network players. Sorry, I go on my rants, don't I?
That's what we're here for.
Okay, yeah.
We're here for the rants. Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating how over about the last 4 to 6 weeks, sentiment just seemed to really turn around over Lido. And I don't know whether that's because people suddenly realized this number was being hit. I think part of it was around there are some staking derivatives. You can take ST ETH and then you can leverage up on it, because it's basically guaranteed income, right? And so you can leverage up and get 10+% yield on your, or 20%, I don't know what it was, on your ether. And I think that some people have started looking into the risks of that and realized that this is potentially a bit of an existential risk. So something changed 4 to 6 weeks ago, and sentiment seemed to turn a little bit against Lido. They came under a lot more scrutiny, I was noticing, and this seems to be their response to that. They've issued their sort of update on their path to decentralization, various other transparency things, their scoreboard, scorecard thing.
And this kind of misses the point for me. I think I mentioned this in a post. This scorecard is them telling us how great of a governor they are. But I don't want them to govern the beacon chain. I want them to be a part of that governance. And so good governance means knowing when to put the brakes on. And that's something that has been missed.
Yeah, and to be fair to them, they've never hidden this. They've always said that in their view, there should be only one provider of liquid staking. It makes sense only to have one. They are Lido maximalists, and they are unashamed about that, which is a deliberate policy of theirs to maximize the liquid staking under their umbrella.
So I am not a tokenomics genius, but it seems to me that the time for a liquidity token basket is here. That rather than people who want to deal with a liquidity token, rather than choosing one of these pools, they simply participate in what is a bundled token that on another layer differentiates pools. But that's another conversation.
So you show us Danny's tweet from today and give us your commentary on that. It's not in the newsletter. I'll cover it next time, but you had it up just now. So.
Yeah. So it's like I want to be careful not to step on anyone's toes, because I'm not anti-Lido. Some of my rhetoric may sound that way. I'm happy they're participating in the network. I just want them to participate appropriately, and so I'm happy that Danny is kind of echoing the things I've been saying for a few weeks. I was looking for every operator to cap themselves around 22%. I brought that up to Lido, and they said, there's no way. We can't stop people from giving us money. And so, I kind of turned to the community, and I'm like, hey, if you guys think this is a bad idea, you should say something too. And so the reason I believe this came out today, Lido is about to surpass 33% if you look at Hill Dobby's dashboard. And so Danny, I'm sure he thought about this. I'm sure he's been thinking about this for weeks. Finally says, hey, this is an attack on the network. We cannot go this way. It needs to stop. And so I really appreciate someone of Danny's position standing up for the health of the chain and not just kind of saying whatever. So yeah, I'm very happy that I know he doesn't want to join the fight. He wants to remain credibly neutral. I know that about him, but we cannot remain credibly neutral when the network is at risk. And so he waited until the last minute and says, "Hey, we got to stop this." So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I'd like to have a beer conversation with him about it sometime. I mean, I don't necessarily see quite the same levels of risk, because let me put the counterpoint, which is Lido is essentially just quite a lightweight governance layer over 22 completely independent staking operations, and they basically have no ability. They don't tell these operators what client to run. They have no ability to influence their behavior in any particular way. So in that sense, it's just a coordination layer. So is that really dangerous?
Yeah, so I think of it as, you called a coordination layer. It's a cartel for me, and cartels act in the best interest of cartels. Their allegiance at some point, you mentioned Lido maximalists. Their allegiance is not to the beacon chain. Their allegiance is to Lido. So if Lido, I've kind of said this before, well, two takes on it. If Lido suggests something that is not in the best interest of the beacon chain, the Lido maximalists are going to do what Lido says, not what the beacon chain needs. That's my first point. My second point, and I think the stronger point, is governments and corporations who view the beacon chain as captured are not going to put transactions on the beacon chain. If Lido controls the beacon chain, it is capture, in any way you frame it. Even if they don't exert control, it is still capture, and it will deter third parties from putting very valuable traffic on the chain, and that's a thing we can avoid.
Cool. Yeah, we should deep dive at some point.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I think I just ranted. I try not to rant, but right, it's what we do.
Right, moving on.
17 minutes later, I'm so sorry. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, that was Lido. So I do want to point out. I don't know. I don't know if that's not this topic. I was thinking about Rocket Pool is working to allow smaller deposits, but that's something else.
Yeah, there is a thing around. There's a PR or an issue on the Specs repo around. I spoke to Darren about this at DevConnect. The issue about having to stake 16 ETH for a node operator in Rocket Pool is because the minimum stake you can drop if you're operating a node, your stake can drop to 16 ETH before you get ejected. So you've got 16 ETH at risk before you get to that point, which a node operator's stake is supposed to make up for. If we made the ejection balance, say 28 ETH, then a node operator would only have to stake 4 ETH, right? So there's an issue about this on the Specs repo. It's being debated currently. So yeah, I had a chat with Darren about that.
And I have to say, stepping away from any provider, just even as a solo operator, I'm more comfortable with being ejected at 28. I would even like to be ejected at 30. Essentially, what that means is I've had a catastrophic failure, or maybe I've passed away, and it's in my best interest if I've leaked that much to retain the rest of my coins through ejection. So to be honest, I think that's the most likely scenario, is people passing away.
In the normal case, if the beacon chain's running fine, then it could take a year to leak 2 ether, right? Because you make about 2 ETH a year and you leak about 2 ETH a year, whatever. So, but if we have a long non-finalization event, so catastrophic, then we go into this quadratic leak mode, and it takes about 3 weeks to leak down to 16 ETH, but to leak down to 28 or 30 ETH would only be a few days, in which case you don't have much time to respond to this event. You haven't got much time to fix it before you lose a lot of validators. So
that's a great point.
That's the main point of the trade-off. The question is, do we need 3 weeks to kind of fix everything? Is that the buffer? So
well, and the key point there is you're going to end up having to upgrade your client. If there's some kind of quadratic leak event, client upgrades are going to be required to kind of end that, and I guess people do need time to do that.
Yeah, quite likely. And we could fiddle with the parameters of that and so forth. It's not set in stone. So
cool.
But that's that conversation's ongoing.
Cool, thanks for that. Great explainers. What do we have? I want to say Yash. I don't want to chop everything up, but
yeah, just one of the better explanations of what shadow forks are that I found out there. That's if people want to get the full story on what we're doing with those shadow forks.
Love to check it out.
Blow a bit of the consensus trumpet here. We're putting in quite a lot of it's genuinely a lot of work and effort around explaining the merge and socializing the merge and just getting people aware and putting some background in, and taking credit where credit is due, of course.
These are great. I'd love to share these on EthStaker. I love them.
Yeah, and it's good stuff. And I'm working with marketing and the other people. Lots of us are. So I don't generally get on very well with marketing people, but actually the current lot of consensus marketing people are really, really good.
I love to hear you say that. I've spent a lot of my life being anti-marketing. Like, I don't want to be marketed to, but I've learned to recognize that if we don't market the beacon chain, if we don't market what we're doing, then a lot of people simply won't know. So I guess not all marketing is bad.
Yeah, indeed. And these people impress me. They really understand what's going on.
I'm curious what the four pillars are: diverse and open, energy efficient, seamless transition, ultra STEM money. That's cool. I align with that.
Yep. So when we were at DevConnect, we took those and we did a couple of video interviews. So Tim, Matt Nelson, and Chris did the first one, and then Justin Drake and I did a second one, and they're really nicely produced. You see on the right, there's a playlist. They've been split up into bite-sized chunks. And
Wow. Hey, you used to post some of this stuff to Reddit EthStaker. I would love if you shared those in the future.
yes,
Because I like this news. The newsletter is great, but it's the first I'm hearing about it. I would love to. Maybe we just send them to your newsletter. I do post that. It's a great resource. What we learned at Proof of Stake about DevConnect, and that's just what we looked at. But
Yep.
these people, I don't know everyone, but the people that I'm aware of are just really great communicators.
Yeah.
Adrian
Yeah.
is just an awesome communicator. I love that dude.
Apparently, I'm really good at explaining the very boring bits.
Well,
That's some feedback I had.
at least it's a claim to fame, right? Um,
Somebody's got to do it.
let's
Yeah.
see.
So, but bunch of stuff. I mean, I think we can skip over most of it as it gets a bit in the details.
Into the weeds.
There.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of people explaining lots of things. It's great. Love
Anything you want to highlight?
Yeah, my chapter on randomness is fantastic.
Okay.
Down at the bottom there.
Yeah.
Press on with the book again. So this one took me a lot longer than I expected to write because I went down a rabbit hole of. I got to a point where I had to explain that the RANDAO was biasable but we didn't need to worry about it. And then I thought I can't leave it there. So I tried to find some research out there which kind of justified this. And I didn't find anything that was very digestible. So I thought, well, I got to do the math. And so a bit further down, I do the math, and it just took me forever because math is hard.
It's interesting.
Probability.
The math takes you so long to put in, and it takes me about an eighth of a second to realize that I'm not going to process this and just skip through. So, but I mean, the time is a good investment. Someone will understand it. I guess that.
It's there for the benefit of future generations.
Ah, yes. I just rant on Twitter for that. To each his own, right? But I am. Thank you. I don't know if anyone has publicly thanked you for documenting this, but your perspective is extremely valuable. So I'm happy you're documenting it, I guess.
Yes, sir. Dev, I wish I'd had a chance to do a bit better on picking out some good DevConnect talks, but I just ran out of steam. So here are some which particularly struck me. They're all from the EthStaker event. I thought it's a really good quality. Did you follow along remotely with that?
Yeah. Well, I listened to them while I was exercising. It was not in my time zone. To be honest with you, I haven't caught the OBAL talk, but Adrian and Jim. So obviously. But I guess I've actually talked about both of these. Checkpoint Sync is something now that I now recognize I need to promote more aggressively, and I hope somebody even submits a grant to that for the EthStaker CLR fund grant. And secondly, I've always known that Vouch is a really great tool, but I've never gotten around to using it. But after listening to Jim's talk, I'm like, why not? What am I'm wasting. So I know that Gem and Attestant are extremely credible. I know that Vouch is a great client. So now I'm like, it's time to play with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And StreamEth.tv, which is part of LivePeer, I think, have done a very good job of capturing quite a lot of the events. So it's really good quality.
LivePeer is still active. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm sorry, and I didn't mean that in a negative way. I haven't kept up with it.
No, they seem to be doing good. They don't. I think we recorded the talks. So in the Devs Day, we did Monday and Tuesday of the week. We had a sort of morning of lightning talks on hot topics, statelessness or whatever. and then afternoons were workshopping what we talked about in the morning. I can't find those recordings anywhere, so hopefully they're out there. But otherwise, most of the stuff is on this page.
I'm interested in becoming more involved with LivePeer. I thought it was a great concept, several years ago, but it didn't seem to get the traction that I thought it would. So I just haven't seen a lot of it.
I read an article a couple of days ago. Their usage is growing significantly. I did look at becoming a pro. So I don't have the bandwidth to. I got the graphics card, but I don't have the bandwidth to do the transcoding. So, definitely worth a look.
Do you know what's likely to happen?
Yeah, I can see where you're going.
I'll say it. LivePeer is a GPU intensive process that distributes video around the world, but the transcoding is GPU heavy. And it turns out we know a platform that is about to have, I don't know, a non-profane way to say this, a heck ton of available GPUs. So it might be an interesting idea for GPU miners to explore supporting LivePeer. I don't know how we got there, but it felt right.
So again, on the consensus thing, we've got various of us are kind of telling our journeys to proof of stake. So if you like the softer side, the human dimension, there's a few bits and pieces there. Sajid's article is super. It's a really good read, as is Mikhail's, of course.
Can I ask you, do you have a take on Laura's book?
I have it. I haven't read it yet. I hear it's quite spicy. I will be reading it soon.
I'm enjoying it. I have to admit, I'm a slow book reader, because I will read like one sentence and then pick up my phone and play on Twitter. But it is keeping my attention. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I hear great things. I am looking forward to reading it.
Welcome to the Bazaar. I'm curious about that.
This was coming out of the Coinbase article. So this person from Coinbase wrote this merge. So this just links through to an old article of mine, so you can ignore that. But that was a bit cheeky link there. But so the author of this Coinbase article, if you click through to that, the merge and the ethics of Ethereum.
Bazaar has become one of my favorite books. Eric Raymond has that book.
Cathedral in the Bazaar.
Yeah. And then Open Bazaar is also something I was interested in. So Bazaar is a hook word for me.
No, that Coinbase article just picks up on our sort of decentralized development and design approach in Ethereum, and I think gives quite a good characterization. Somebody who kind of gets it.
Cool. Conjure Verkle testnet is available. Yeah. Nethermind, we're able to join it. Landing pages there.
Yeah, that's kind of a bit out there. This is moving towards stateless Ethereum, quite technical.
Okay.
You can probably skip through the calls. Let's go and talk about your
sure
your CLR fund stuff.
So
you've already mentioned your dashboards. There are your dashboards at the bottom, and then then your CLR fund.
Yeah, so I'm going to link to it. Yeah, so if you follow these links, this is the important one. This is the actual. Let me find. Well, shoot, just go to qf.estaker.cc. And it's the big picture is EF and CLR teamed up with ETHStaker to provide a 350,000 DAI grant to staking based projects, and ETHStaker, I'm wildly excited about this. This is it's a great opportunity to kind of listen to the ETHStaker community and say, what do you guys want to develop? Let us help you fund it. And so to donate, you'll need to get Bright ID verified. You'll need to get DAI on Arbitrum, and then you can come here and choose any of these projects. You make one donation, and then after that, you can shuffle that around. Right now, there are 7 projects that have been approved, but there are more in the pipeline. I think that there are currently 8 in the pipeline that are going to be added in the next few days. The important dates are the 16th. That might be the 14th, but the deadline for submitting projects is coming out. Once that deadline passes, Donations will remain open. You're right. It is the 16th because there were 8 days with both of them. Uh, of course, you were correct. Of course. So that funding opportunity will last until the 24th, and I have given a couple places where I've listed like these are things that I would love to see. You don't need to follow any of my suggestions. A lot of people know more of what we need than I do. I just want you to create something in the space. Create a dashboard, make something easier, um, create educational materials. Take one of the things I want to say is take a click out of staking wherever you can do that. Take one click out, and you have improved staking in that way. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. I feel
And this
awkward
is
when I say super because like my username is SuperFizz.
so this is a bit like Gitcoin grants, right? So the it's match funding, it's quadratically matched. So what your donation of a few DAI is really a signal. It's not, you are giving some DAI, but you're not, not life-changing amounts, right? It's just a signal that this is a project that you support with a little bit of commitment behind it, and then the matching takes into account how many people support each.
Yeah,
uh,
we're not looking for big contributions. We're just looking for people, unique people to go and say, this is important to me. I love that I'm wearing the same shirt. Like this could be the same event. I'm a mess. Um, but yeah, you can watch our launch call. The most important thing is that as an Etherean, you signal your interest in promoting growth of the community. Like that's it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So how did this come about? What was the impetus for this?
Um, CLR Fund contacted us and they
Mhm.
said, "Hey, we'd like to get a novel use case. We'd like to improve uses for our quadratic funding mechanism. We think eStaker is important. Do you want to team up?" And I said, "Heck yeah." Then we got in touch with the EF and they were like, "Yeah, we'll give you this much if you want to do it." And like it has just we've really been working on it incrementally for about 6 months.
Mm.
But it's a win for everyone. Like there's no way you could view this as bad. Just very happy about it.
Hadn't even crossed my mind. Yeah,
No,
that's
no.
that's fantastic. That is awesome.
We made
Brilliant.
it to the end.
We have
Wait,
indeed.
and we did it in an hour too. I don't know. Are you measuring time?
I'm keeping an eye, half an eye
Okay, okay. It must
on
be
what
you
says
leading us. Oh, okay, because you did sort of gloss over.
gave you a
You
bit of a
sped up.
hurry up.
Okay, okay, okay. Um, so yeah, it's been great connecting. I hope that we brought some value to brought additional value to the already awesome newsletter. So, all right.
Thank you, Fizz. It's a absolute pleasure to chat with you again. It's been too long, but yeah, let's keep doing this.
I love it. Thanks, Ben.